Hello and welcome back to another episode of Coach's Corner. My name is Dorian Waller. We have a great show in store for you today. In person, live in the studio today, we have a legend himself, the head coach of Prairie View A&M University's football team, Coach Bubba McDowell. Coach,
Dorian?
thank you so much for coming. We're going to have a great conversation today. I kind of wanted to start off the show by reminding everybody of your resume. So can you talk a little bit about your career before you came to Prairie View?
Yeah, I mean, I started at University of Miami, came out of high school again, went to University of Miami, recruited by Howard Snellenberger, but then Howard left and went to USFL. Then Jimmy Johnson came in. So under Jimmy Johnson, had a chance to play for four titles. We ended up winning one in '87. Then from there, transitioned to the Houston Oilers.
Yes,
Got picked by the Houston Oilers, 77th pick, third round. Went on to have a really good career for 4 years here with the Houston Oilers. Then transitioned over to the Carolina Panthers in '95 of the inaugural season there. Tearing the Achilles tendon after that, and then from there went into just training guys, getting them ready, like Daniel Manning, Ken Hamlin, who played with Seattle. So getting those guys ready for their pro career, and then also high school kids as well as getting ready for them for college.
Okay. So is that where you would say your passion for coaching kind of began right there?
Yeah, it did. It did. I even once I retired fully from football, meaning that I wasn't going to watch any more of it in '96. I decided to get into the training part of it, try to give back a little bit, get these guys ready to go. And from there, a good buddy of mine, Alonzo Highsmith, said, "Hey, man, you're really good with guys. You're really good with kids. You really should think about going into coaching." And I always said that I would never get into coaching at that particular time. I just had Trey, who's my oldest now, 26, at that time. And I said, nah, knowing how the coaching style, how the coaching goes with, just being away from family a lot, I said I would never want to get into it. But saying all that, he talked me into it. He said, "Man, just try it out try it out and see." So I ended up going over to Texas Southern for 4 years. I actually volunteered for 4 years over there just to see if I liked it. So as got into the first year, kind of liked it on Bill Thomas. Went into the next year, same deal. So it just kept going. Then I said, you know what? I really like this. I because I'm giving back. And kids are coming back after year after year and saying, I had a good one. Stacy Thomas, who went on play a long career overseas. So he finished over there. And he over and have a long career over there. So that was the big thing with me, just basically giving back and seeing these young men go off, build something of themselves, and then come back. The biggest gratification is just saying thank you.
Okay. And this is going to be my first set of Houston-based questions. So my first one, you mentioned Texas Southern and your volunteer work over there and your experience there for 4 years. Can you talk about the HBCU experience there and kind of your welcome into the HBCU experience at Texas Southern?
Yeah, I mean, when I first got there, again, didn't know what to expect. Again, just not even just from the HBCU side of it, just coaching as a whole. And again, I went over there, not knowing, what was going to happen from one day to the next. But Coach Thomas, Bill Thomas, had a great plan for that university about how we should go out. We meet every day, again, just how we should go out, how we should recruit, getting guys to come in and play at Texas Southern at that particular time. And again, just experiencing that, again, just I guess helped me get to where I am today.
Okay, and for my second set of Houston-based questions, I am from Houston, Texas, born and raised. So this one's kind of personal for me. I never got to see the Houston Oilers play, unfortunately. I'm not trying to age you or nothing at all.
Okay. That's okay.
But I never got to see the Houston Oilers play. So can you talk about what kind of, since you've been back in Houston, what the Oilers have meant to the city of Houston? I know a lot of people are always talking about the Houston Oilers, kind of the glory days. Again, not to age you again at all. Can you just speak about what the Houston Oilers meant to you and what they mean to the city?
Well, again, it was a great opportunity for me again to be drafted out of Miami, third round. It was them, Green Bay, Philadelphia, Seattle at the time that was really looking at me. And I tell you, I really didn't want to go to Green Bay. That's for sure. So Houston ended up picking me. Then I think it was one of the best things that could happen. I also, again, Lonzo Highsmith, who got me into Texas Southern, into coaching. He was already part of the Houston Oilers at that particular time, and having had him here, he brought me in. And what we usually do, what he started, should I say, if you're part of the Oilers and we get somebody from the University of Miami, we'll bring them in for a year and let them live with us so they get acclimated to the city and all that before we have to kick them out, and then they get out on their own.
Okay.
But it was one of the greatest time in my career being here. I mean, even till this day, we walk around, people recognize you. You're part of that Oilers Love You Blue days, and and it's great to still see, even though the Texans here, D'Amico has come in, put a new stamp on now. A team here in Houston, a winning tradition. Hopefully that will continue to happen after this year. But just to be a part of that era, I mean, is gratifying. I mean, I can't even really explain it anymore other than it was just great to be a part of it and to get to know a lot of guys that are still here and that we still talk to this day.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you mentioned the Texans, man. I'm really excited about that team coming up.
Me too.
So we already talked about Texas Southern. You got hired here at Prairie View in 2022. I wanted to also know your reaction when you got hired for the head coaching position here at Prairie View. It was kind of back in Houston area. You're back here. You were working for another HBCU like Texas Southern, going over to their biggest rival, actually. So kind of what was your reaction to the whole hiring process here at Prairie View?
I mean, I was still nervous. I mean, again, and a lot of people kept asking me, like, why did it take you so long? And, I had a really good mentor. He said, look, man, you don't jump into something that you're not ready for. So I wasn't ready for it. I was still, finding my way, and as God would have it, I mean, it was the perfect opportunity for me to jump in at that time, because at that particular time when I went for the head job, it was the right time, one, and two, I knew a lot more than what I knew in the past. So it was time for me to jump in. Again, I didn't know if I was going to get it or not, but, I was going to put my name in the hat, and as God would have it, thank the Lord for it. It gave me an opportunity to coach this, be here and coach at this university, man, and do some good things. 2 good winning seasons so far.
Yeah. And that first season, I was really impressed by the first season. Y'all went, I believe the record was 6-6, 5-5, I believe.
6-5, yeah.
6-5. Okay. Yeah. So can you talk about the first season, the ups and downs coming into that new job experience as the head coach of a program for the first time? Kind of what were the highs and lows of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's again satisfying at some point, demanding at another time, frustrating, at another time, and as a head coach, and I knew it coming in that, I have to wear all hats, I have to be that guy to wear all the hats, and knowing that everything was going to fall back on me, good, bad, not so good, and again, as I said, I was ready for it. I mean, I thank God he really, again, has put me in position to be ready for it. He built me for this moment, because one thing I do love is giving back. I want to be able to, as I told the guys when I got the job, I said, look, man, we're going to come in here. We're going to do things the right way. I don't ask a lot of you guys. I don't have a lot of rules. I just want you to be able to do the right thing at the right time, always, as much as possible. Everybody's not perfect. You're not going to be perfect. There's not only one perfect guy, and that's Lord, our Lord and Savior. And I said, dude, but again, you guys just got to figure out how to do it right. I'm going to help you try to get there and do it. And we're going to be really just teaching each other along the way, along this path. And that's what's been happening. They've been teaching me, and I'm still learning as a head coach, what to do, what not to do, how to manage these young men, and making sure that, they're doing the right thing on and off the field.
Okay. And with that first season, how did it kind of prepare you for the next season? How did you feel like you were wearing more well prepared for the upcoming season, which y'all did eventually make it to the SWAC championship. So how did the first season, all those experiences, teaching the younger guys, get you prepared for the second season?
Yeah, I mean, it prepared us quite a bit because, again, coming into that first season, we had veterans, but we didn't have a lot. That first season gave me a chance to see exactly who we was going to keep on the team, what player or players was going to help get us to where we need to get to at the end of the season. And again, all we wanted was a winning season. Anything come after that, is extra. So we did get a winning season, but going into that following year, last year, we had a lot of veteran guys. Even though we had a lot of veteran guys, we was expected to finish last or second to last in the SWAC. And I threw that in their heads, in their minds every day. Like, look, guys, we finished really good last year, but we got a lot of veterans this year, and they still voted us at the end. What are you guys gonna do about it? So I threw that to them every day, just reminding them, like, this is what they think of you guys. And again, a lot of people didn't expect us to be where we were last year in the SWAC championship, but it was a testament to those guys, playing together in close games, coming out with a victory.
And before I get too deep into this current past season that we just had, I did want to touch on one more thing before it, of course, slips my mind. When you got hired, I remember there was a lot of excitement, not only around Prairie View's campus, but around the area of Houston, like I mentioned earlier. Can you talk about the excitement a little bit shortly for me?
Yeah, it was very exciting. It really was. And honestly, Dorian, I didn't expect it to be that much excitement, but it really was. I was getting tweets, I was getting emails, I was getting calls, like, hey, congratulations, you deserve it, you got the job, you hung in there, you did what you need to do to hang in there and get into position that you are today, and more importantly, the kids, and that's more who I was worried about. Like, hey, you know what, how are they going to accept me? And sure enough, they accepted me in there, and again, we went on to do some good things, and hopefully we can continue to do that.
Yes, sir. Most definitely. I want to take a quick and short commercial break. I want us to continue on the topic of this second season as we get deeper into our conversation. Please stay tuned for more. We're going to be right back with Coach. Hello and welcome back to the Coach's Corner. Today we have Coach Bubba joining us. Welcome back once again, Coach.
Thank you, sir.
And I want to get right back into the conversation. We were talking a little bit about our past season here at Prairie View. So the season's over, of course. Y'all went to the SWAC championship. I had a chance to actually make my travel out there to see the game. So can you kind of give us a season review, what you liked, what you think y'all can improve on, whether that's staffing, whether that's personnel with players, just a full review of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we had a good season. Again, you can always improve on players. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Coaching staff, we had one to leave us. We're replacing one with Coach Whedon, Anthony Whedon, who was part of the 2009 championship team here.
Mhm.
Who everybody's been talking about big time about the type of offense that he had when he was at Campbell,
Mhm.
running that offensive scheme there. He's gonna bring it here to Prairie View, and we're gonna do some good things, man. But yeah, we are ready and willing to get all new players in to help us with the current players, to
Mhm.
get back to this championship.
Yeah, and I'm definitely going to touch on those new incoming players, transfers, the new signings that you have. But I'm glad you mentioned Coach Whedon. I kind of wanted to talk about him first and foremost. So Coach Whedon, that's a big sign. Of course, a lot of people are excited because he is from the 2009 SWAC championship team. So I know there was a lot of buzz, like you just mentioned about him. Can you speak a little bit more about that buzz of the hiring and kind of the reaction that you and the entire athletics department had when y'all accomplished that signing?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's been great, man. And again, a lot of buzz has been going around since day one when that job opened up, and
Mm-hmm.
it hit the internet, and everybody kept, applying for the job and shoot, and everybody, I had a lot of people call me about Wheaton. Even
Mm-hmm.
even himself called me, and I was like, oh yeah, okay. So again, I had to do my background check on him, see how that offense worked at Campbell,
Mm-hmm.
also talking to others who knew him, who know that type of offense. Will it work with Prairie View, with the athletes that we have? And man, I had nothing but good praise about this guy. But of course, when KJ Black called, you got to say yes.
Mm-hmm. And before this, kind of a sidebar, before we get deeper back into the PV season, you mentioned the whole hiring process and all the background you have to do. Can you talk a little bit about the background checks you have to do, whether that's, like you said, calling people that are familiar with them, reviewing his offense over there at Campbell, and that's just for all positions that you
Yeah.
might possibly have to hire for in the future?
Absolutely, and we do that because again, we want to make sure that that guy that we choose, or the guy that's been chosen for that team, that university, is going to come in and do what he left when he left the other place.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, doing something that great at the university, and I'm gonna say
Mm-hmm.
Prairie, because that, again, when we go out and hire those guys, again, you got to do background check, and that background check is simple. Just say, you know what,
Mm-hmm.
because everybody's been in the football realm. They've been in for a long period of time. So now it's about you, and everybody know each other. It's a big community, but it's a small community at the
Mm-hmm.
same time. So we always call back, and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, I know yeah, I know Coach McDowell, and that's the background check I'm talking about. You want to make sure that, again, that guy that you bring in fits your program, fits what you want them to be taught, your young men to be taught
Mm-hmm.
from on a good realm, should I say? And more importantly, is that guy or those guys that you bring in, depending on how many positions that you bring in that year, are they gonna gel with your guys? Not only on the field but off the field as well. Because
Mm-hmm.
when I bring a guy in, I want that guy to not only be a coach on the field, but they know when we come in into meetings, staff meeting, the first thing I ask, hey, have you checked on your players?
Mm-hmm.
So they got to be able to check on their players. They got to stay engaged with their players every day just to make sure everything is going right.
Okay. And before we get deeper into the season, once again, I kind of wanted to backtrack a little bit back to homecoming. I had a chance to cover that game as well. We actually got an interview with you on the field right after the game. It was your birthday.
Yeah.
So can we talk about, you had two Prairie View homecomings under your belt, and I know nobody does homecoming like the Hills. So I kind of wanted to hear your sentiments on PV homecomings and the experience.
It's crazy, man. I love it. It's crazy. I mean, when I first got here, on the Coach Northern, when he first
Mhm.
hired me coming out of Willow Ridge. When I left U of H, and then went to Willow Ridge for 2 years.
Mhm.
Excuse me. I jumped, and I used to hear about it. Again,
Mhm.
before we built the track and everything, wow, it was unbelievable. But
Mhm.
just to see it grow each year, I
Mhm.
mean, it's amazing, man. And again, that's just a testament not only to the university itself, but again to the alumni. They want to come out, they want to celebrate, have a good time, but more importantly, they want to see each other. Probably hadn't seen each other all year long, and then
Mhm.
come out and see a good football game.
Yeah. So moving on, the SWAC championship. Like I mentioned, I had a chance to go out there, cover the game. I was really impressed, but how tight of a ship you ran. It was kind of hectic out there, with the rain. I mean, I was kind of in shock with everything going on because that was the first time I made such a travel to cover such a big scale event like that, and the rain delays and everything. So I kind of wanted to hear your thoughts overall about the entire game. Unfortunately, we weren't able to capture the win, but of course, we competed against a very good FAMU defensive team. I mean, stellar defensive team. So can you kind of talk about the rain delays, the planning going into that game, just a little bit about the whole game experience?
Yeah, I mean, we knew going into that game, yeah, it was going to be some rain, but again, we didn't realize it could be that much rain, that many delays. Excuse me. And again, it was just about us being able to keep those guys, focused throughout the course of those delays and throughout the course of the game itself. Unfortunately, like you said, we didn't get the win that we wanted to, but we came out after that first delay, bounced down the field real fast. I said, okay, here we go. Here we go. Boom. Next thing you know, now we got another delay for another 30, 40 minutes. And I think, as I was telling the coaches, I said, I knew that took the life out of them. Again, we're in there just trying to make sure that they stay loose, stay aware of what's going on, be ready to go once we get back on that field, be ready to go. And unfortunately, we didn't do that. At that particular time, so we ended up losing them twice, in 1 year. And I told them at the end of that first time we went down there and we lost. I said, look, we're gonna be right back here. I said, you guys just got to stay the course, do what I asked you guys to do, go out there and perform on the field, and I promise you, if y'all do that, we will be right back here playing for the SWAC championship. And they did that. They came on back, did what they're supposed to do, won the games we were supposed to win, and we got a chance to play for that championship.
Yeah, and I'm really glad you mentioned that touchdown coming out of that the first very long break. I was really impressed because that kind of did feel like a momentum swing. I mean, I'm not even gonna say it was a momentum swing. I was on the sideline, and of course I saw the touchdown, and I turned to the stands, and the fans were like moaning and groaning. They just came back. So I do agree with you that second delay kind of took the life out of us. But FAMU is coming back, but they've lost their head coach. They're kind of dwindling down in talent, I would say. Can you kind of speak of how the SWAC is kind of shaping up right now? I know there's been a lot of moves and changes, not only here with coach the new OC hiring, but a lot of changes around the SWAC. Can you just kind of talk about how the entire SWAC division is setting up for next season?
Yeah, I think it's going to be very competitive. As I tell my guys, everybody's gotten better. Everybody's still getting better, and meaning that we still got in the spring. I'm sure everybody's going to be trying to get more players. I know we probably got about 5 to 6 more spots we need to fill after spring. Grambling new coach, Texas Southern new coach, and it's just going around. Saying that, yeah, it's going to be very competitive. And again, I think we got a really, really good chance of getting back there with the added addition that we brought in for the spring, and probably, like I said, and again for those ones that are going to be coming in after spring as well.
And speaking of spring, we're gonna go ahead and move towards the new hiring. Not the new hirings, the new signings that y'all made. New 16 signings. Y'all had a great event in Stafford, Texas, to welcome them to the program. Can you talk about any of the any of the signings that excite you the most? What you kind of expecting from the new additional players? Just kind of the sentiment and excitement about them.
Yeah, and let me say this. I think my coaching staff went out and did a fantastic job recruiting, getting guys in to fill spots where we needed to be filled. And one particular is the quarterback spot. As you guys know from last year, we only had one quarterback in that game. And then when Conley got hurt, we had to use Chris Herron back there in the last minute. But yeah, we got Cam Peters coming in, Stafford kid. Went to UIW, transferred from there, went to a JC. Now we got him back. And we tried to get Cam out the very first year. He came out of high school. We thought we had him, but we couldn't get him in here grade-wise. But now, as God will have it, he's back here, ready to go. And watching him practice out there right now, throwing the ball, he's slinging it. And also we have Jaden Johnson, who didn't get a chance to play last year. Found out real late that he didn't have enough credits to play. So again, he was quarterback that was won championship at his JC as well. So we got 2 veteran guys, 2 guys that can sling it, 2 guys that are very smart, 2 guys I really believe that's going to move this offense the way Coach Wheaton wants it to be moved. Very fast, very slow, methodical type, however he needs it to be ran. Those 2 guys can do it. Plus, we got the young buck coming in from Forshire, Deuce Barrington, who can sling it, who can run it. Again, he's probably going to come in. He's going to compete. Like I told him, I said, dude, I want you to come on in here, try to compete with these guys as much as possible. But again, if he don't, we know that we got a good one in him. We can redshirt him, and that way we'll have him an extra year. Running back, Connor Wisham is back. He's going to be better. We went out, got 2 nice one from high school, Morton Ranch, Run Hall from Morton Ranch, and then we got Chase Bingham from Terrell, home of one of our top quarterbacks. What's number 1? I can't think. That was here.
Number 1.
Yeah, Tucker.
Okay.
Dwanya Tucker. So Dwanya Tucker has trained this young man out of Terrell High School. Oh my gosh! And just see some of his videos that Tucker is sending to me that he's still training is unbelievable. So I think he's probably one of them. I would say he's probably one of the freshmen that's going to come in and make waves real fast.
Okay.
Most likely not going to get redshirted.
Okay. And you mentioned all these high schools that I'm really familiar with, the Morton Ranches and everything. And I really appreciate you getting this local talent, because I spoke to my dad. And I spoke to my dad a little bit, and he kind of mentioned how Prairie View in the past, because he is a graduate from Prairie View, they've kind of lacked in recruiting local talent, because there's a lot of talent in the Houston area. So you going out there and getting local talent and planning to utilize them to the best of your abilities is just great to see. But Coach Bub, I know you're a very busy man. I know you have a lot on your plate as always. So I want to thank you again for taking the time to come to the studio and discuss the upcoming season, this past season with us. It's very appreciated.
Absolutely. D. Anytime you want me, man, just let me know. I'll be here.
I got you, Coach. No problem at all. Like I said, understand, very busy man. I want to thank you all once again for watching this episode of Coach's Corner. Make sure you tune in Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5:30 for new episodes of Panther Sports Zone, Coach's Corner, and Legacy. I'm Dorian Waller, and once again, thank you to Coach Bubba for coming out. I'll see you next time.